I show weakness, if I retreat, I may be hurt, I may be killed.
This man was eaten alive by a bear. This is Timothy Treadwell, a man who believed he was one of the bears. But Timothy wasn't some grizzled outdoorsman. He was a former bartender from Long Island, New York, who had once dreamed of becoming a famous actor. He even auditioned for the TV show Cheers, but when he lost the role to Woody Harrelson, everything spiraled. Heartbroken, Timothy fell into a deep hole of alcoholism and substance addiction throughout his 20s. At one point, his addiction got so bad, he nearly died from an overdose. Searching for a way out, he escaped to the wild and became obsessed with Alaska grizzly bears. But Timothy didn't study them from afar. He lived with them. For 13 summers, he camped in Katmai National Park, walking up to massive wild grizzlies, sometimes even petting them. And somehow they let him. To Timothy, the bears weren't dangerous. They were his family. He believed he was protecting them and that they loved him for it. But rangers warned him again and again, these bears aren't your friends. You're trespassing into their world. And one day it's going to end badly. In the summer 2003, Timothy decided to break his own rules. Instead of leaving at the end of bear season like usual, he stayed deep into October when bears are starving and aggressive, desperate to survive before hibernation. And this time, he wasn't alone. He brought his girlfriend, 37-year-old Amy Huguenard, a physician's assistant from Colorado who loved nature but was terrified of the bears. The two set up camp in a place called the Grizzly Maze, one of the most dangerous parts of the park. No weapons, no bear spray, nothing to protect them. Timothy told friends he wasn't worried. He said the bears knew him and that he was cool with the bears. But nature doesn't care what you believe. On October 5th, when the pilot arrived to pick them up, he immediately saw a massive bear, bigger and more aggressive than the others, pacing around the campsite. The pilot fled and called for help. When rangers arrived, they walked into a nightmare. The tent was destroyed, the ground was torn apart and scattered across the site were the mutilated remains of Timothy and Amy. Nearby, the same massive bear, a starving old male, was guarding the area. When it charged, rangers were forced to shoot it. But then they found something even more chilling. Inside the torn up tent was Timothy's video camera. The lens cap was still on, so no video, but the audio had been recording. For 6 minutes, it captured the sounds of their final moments. Timothy screaming that he was being attacked, Amy yelling at him to play dead, the sounds of her desperately fighting the bear, striking it with a frying pan, Timothy crying out that he was dying, and finally, silence. The tape has never been released publicly. Only a handful of people have ever heard it, and they say it's one of the most horrifying things imaginable.